Week, we judge the thoughts and intents of our spouse's heart
Yeah.
when we experience what we would call negative behavior out of them.
Yeah.
We judge what it means.
We go live in their brain again.
We live in their heads and we judge what it means.
Yes. Right.
And the judgment we make is 9 out of 10 times unrighteous.
Yes.
It's because we're looking at it with our physical eyes instead of looking at it through our heart. Right? And I kind of described that with Becky. Right? The behavior of her throwing all my nice suits out into the front yard and stomping them into the mud, that doesn't look good, does it?
No.
So if I judge if I judge the thoughts and intents of her heart, I can become very angry with that. But if I didn't see that there was a guy with a gun to her head and I just saw the suits, I would judge it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
I would jump to a judgment. I'd think, what is wrong with her? And I'd be angry and upset, and I'd be thinking about what she did to me. But then when I could go in there and see the guy with the gun to her head, then I wouldn't be upset anymore. And what happens is we judge the thoughts and intents of our spouse's hearts when they fall short, quote unquote. We'll just use that language. When maybe they're not there, or when maybe they do have weaknesses or shortcomings. And we judge it to mean something about us, or that their view of us is a certain way, and that's why they do it. Instead of just concluding that guy's suffering, or that woman is suffering at the hands of something right now, and that's really what's going on. They're not actually against me. They don't actually hate me. It's not that they reject me. It's not that they don't approve of me. It's that they have their own stress and pressure and suffering and bondage going on that can take them captive and make them do things they don't want to do sometimes. Mm-hmm. And see, when you start viewing it like that, then you don't get upset in those moments, right?
Yeah.
You don't look at it in a negative way. You don't think of it as, look at what they're doing to me. You think of it in the terms of, I wonder what's happening to them. I wonder if Greg had a hard day at work today. I wonder if Marie, man, just was so stressed out at work today. I wonder if she's stressed out about something. You see, you're not looking at it as a slight against you. And if you don't look at it as a slight against you, your first thought isn't about how they've fallen short or how they've done you wrong. Your first thought is what's doing them wrong.
Right.
You see, God brings forth eyes in us to see that. What he wants us to do is begin to see through our heart instead of our physical eyes. Mm-hmm. And so he brings forth this truth in us, this discernment, and we can begin seeing people that way. All people, but our spouses especially.
Sure.
And you begin seeing them through your heart, right? Mm-hmm. And your heart discerns it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I won't say there's not sometimes where I feel frustrated sometimes, but I would say that, man, quick life now, I almost always see it that way. I've already concluded Becky's only ever for me. She only ever wants to be good to me. She only ever wants to love me. She only ever wants my life to go good. That's a foregone conclusion. It's not up in the air still, guys. Sometimes we live as if it's still up in the air. If we're still trying to conclude. That thing's already been concluded. You've proposed, and one said I do. Okay? So both people already did it. So we can move on from that and just know if they're behaving a certain way, if they're coming against me in a certain way, if they're having behavior that seems like it's just not measuring up or not as it ought to be, I can see it as them suffering at the hands of something. And then I'm not upset with them, nor do I feel slighted.
Yeah. The analogy of